You are listening to Larry Conners, USA.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
This is Larry Conners USA. Larry Conners USA.
I've been alone for so long. And when I realized that the laboratory was having the same name, first name and last name, of the evil that had been plaguing us, I thought to myself, that up.
That is, of course, comedian, and you know him well. You see him often. He's back on the program with Colbert the other night. Jon Stewart. Now, I did not have time to get to it yesterday, but I want to break it down because what he did was say something, and the audience loved it. They ate it up. They laughed so hard because it was so funny. But if he tried to say that same little skit a year ago with Trump still in office, they would have booed him off the stage. They would have demanded his head. But now we have no problem laughing and pointing out, yeah, Jon Stewart is pointing out what Trump had said repeatedly, and many of us believed. You got to look at the Wuhan lab of the Chinese and what they're doing there instead of just buy the story that Dr. Fake and the others were always pushing. Oh, it could not have come from the lab. Could not come from the lab. It had to come from the wet market. And, of course, now they've also had to step forward and say, well, it's possible. It's more than possible. I want to break it down, not only just his routine that he shared, because there's some underlying everything he says is another clear statement that, damn it, why weren't you listening previously? Not only to you, the American public, and especially the progressive left and all the rest of them, and the so-called mainstream media at that point, now state-controlled media. No, it was just a way to attack Trump. Just as the Chinese might have been gain-of-function research of the virus, which is code for weaponizing it, how to use it, the left and the mainstream media at that time decided to take the whole event and weaponize it politically, and they succeeded. Had to have everyone, we had to have more absentee ballots than ever before because folks are afraid to go outside. We're going to get into that in more detail. But beyond the joke itself, former Secretary of State Pompeo with a direct and most dire warning. If we do not understand what happened and don't do something about it, the next so-called COVID event could kill not maybe 3 million, but closer to 30 million. We're going to get into that. And also there is, since we're talking about how the media handles things, we're going to be joined by Christopher Bedford of the Federalist, senior editor of the Federalist, talking about how the New York Times has taken a statement by the Vatican and using it in a headline basically to threaten U.S. Catholic archbishops, to threaten them. And the story that follows the headline has really little bearing to the headline, but don't worry. The headline served the purpose. Chris Bedford will break that down for us. And, of course, we have President Biden and his meeting with Putin is wrapped up. They did not have, of course, a joint conference. That was already decided. Putin wanted one. The Biden staff said no. And the reason they said, well, it's just would be better, understood, so forth. No, what the point is, Putin wanted it because he wanted a chance to show up Biden. And that's exactly why the Biden team didn't want to do anything with it. And Biden is acting like I accomplished a lot. Putin has basically said, smoke and mirrors, that's about it, nothing else. You really think he got tough with Putin? Really? No, I think most of you know he didn't. He went in there and probably sat there and listened forever. And then we have Tucker Carlson on a piece that I want to make sure we spend some time on. How the heads of our government and supposedly Pentagon chiefs claiming that our greatest threat to this nation is not jihadists, but white supremacists. And it all ties into the January 6th riot. And I told you the left will use that as a biggest hammer for decades to come. And they're doing so now. We've got a lot to cover the next 2 hours. Let your friends, your family know we're on the air. Lock and load. Ready on the right.
You can email Larry at LarryConnersUSA@gmail.com. LarryConnersUSA@gmail.com.